2 times already I mentioned serverless applications. Today is a good day to poke a stick at that bell. Hi, let's talk today about developing serverless applications using Firebase. I'm Anatol and you are watching the good parts of the Frontend development. Let's start from the definition. What is the serverless architecture? Serverless doesn't mean running code without servers. Serverless computing is a computing execution model in which the cloud provider fully manages virtual machines as necessary to serve requests, which are billed per virtual machine and per hour. Serverless computer, or function as a service, is a category of cloud computing that provides a platform allowing customers to develop, run and manage applications functionalities without the complexity of building the infrastructure. Traditionally, the architecture looks something like this. Business logic is implemented on the server side, connected to a database, with an HTML and JavaScript component as a client. With the serverless architecture, this will look more like this. A rich client with business logic uses API gateway with authorization and payment services, external analytics and search engines, connected to cloud storage and database. All components could be independent third-party services. The advantages of this architecture are reduced operational development and scaling costs, easier operational management, but every coin has two sides, so you will get vendor control and vendor lock-in, resource limits and security concerns. Let's dive into the code.
I used to do MVC. Let's modify a jQuery version, which is probably the most compact one. Create new project in the console. Now analytics, authentication service, database, etc. are available. Here is the code for my project. Add starting scripts and HTTP server. npm start. OK. Let's add a login button and login section with email and password. Here is a sign up button. I also added some styles. It looks fine. It's time to add a handler, sign up button and a handler. This is a promise. If user is registered, then reload the page. Otherwise, show an error. Let's check. Server respond an error. Now add an email sign-up method and try again. OK, check the console. New user registered. Implement sign-in process. Here is the button. Here will be a handler. Now I add event listener and a function init Firebase. Here, on auth state changes, I read user data. Let's add a handler for sign out. Okay, let's try it. Sign in. And now sign out. It works! It's time to store data to database. Store user ID and create a function reloadDB. Here I add an ID for current user. Read data once and redraw the main table. Let's add an item. Check the console. Here is my kitty. Firebase client maintains its own internal version and synchronizes that data with the remote database, therefore your application remains responsive regardless of network latency or connectivity. However, it works just in one session.
My code is available on GitHub, Firebase documentation is available on google.com. Follow the links if you're eager to get more. Of course, Firebase is not the only one. You can choose Microsoft, Amazon, Google as a complex solution or combine tools like Auth0, Sarge, Hyperdev, etc. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel and watch other episodes. This is all for this week. Thanks for watching and dive deeper.